if I don't hear from,
I just sent him another text.
okay, if we don't hear from him by 6:35, Bruce, if you want to get started, and then if he pops in, he can take over.
Okay.
Okay, we'll give him another minute or so. I know he was pushing it. It looks like we are live now. So we'll just give JP another minute or so, and then we'll be ready to roll. Bruce, I will, on the recommendation to approve, I will kind of give a little detail of what we're going to table tonight.
Okay. He says it won't let him in.
Did he? Well, he didn't respond to me. Ask him if he hit the top link. Like, there he is. There he is.
All right.
Hey, we got.
Hey there.
All set?
I think so. Whenever you're ready.
All right. Are we on? Is the YouTube on?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's call this meeting to order. It's our regular meeting for the month of December 2020. Please stand and join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, little protocol before we get started here. All board members, if you're not speaking, please go on mute. We got a little feedback I've heard already. To the public, before I got on, did you do any explanation of how we ended up here, Dave, or should I do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So apologize to everybody being late. I also apologize. We expected to be over with you tonight at the middle school. However, between some conflicts of board members and some board members that are maybe, I don't want to say quarantine, but obviously want to distance themselves due to some illness, we weren't able to have a quorum at the board office tonight. Thankfully, we're allowed by the governor's order due to the ongoing pandemic. We can continue to have virtual meetings. Obviously not our preference, but there's some important business that we want to get done tonight, particularly the grant for the teachers that we want to get approved. And so we didn't want to lose our meeting tonight, but unfortunately, we're forced in order to have a quorum to meet here virtually. So hopefully that's a little explanation of why we're not at the middle school and why we had to rearrange everything at the last minute. And we certainly apologize to anybody that may have inconvenienced. So first item, given this is a virtual meeting, we're required to call the roll. So I will call the roll. Please signify saying present or if not, I'll indicate your absence. First of all, Mrs. Ave.
Present.
Mrs. Ave is present. Mrs. Corrado.
Present.
Mrs. Corrado is present. Mr. Cool. Mr. Cool is absent. Dr. Hawkins. Dr. Hawkins, you're on mute.
Present.
There we go. Dr. Hawkins is present. Mrs. Hill. Mrs. Hill is absent. Mr. West.
Present.
Mr. West is present. The chair is present. I declare a quorum. Next item is recommendation to approve the agenda for this evening. Mr. Chapman did revise the agenda based on moving the meeting tonight to virtual, and I think you've also cut out a few of the agenda items, it appears.
Correct. I can go through those items real quick if you like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
The items to be tabled tonight are section 5 under presentations and reports. and also discussion items A and B. Under the decision agenda, the items H, J, and K will also be tabled. The remaining items will be go forward with this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman. So I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as modified.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Dr. Hawkins, seconded by Mr. West, to approve the agenda as presented or as modified. Here again, roll call vote because it's an agenda or it's a virtual meeting. So signify when I call your name, please signify your vote, yay or nay. First of all, Mrs. Ave.
Yay.
Mrs. Ave is a yay. Mrs. Corrado.
Yay.
Mrs. Corrado is a yay. Mr. Cool. Mr. Cool's absent. I'm sorry. Dr. Hawkins.
Yay.
Dr. Hawkins is a yay. Mrs. Hill is absent. Mr. West.
Yay.
Mr. West is a yay. The chair is yay. Motion passes 5-0. We are moving on to our comments from citizens period. Unfortunately, I don't have the YouTube here. I don't know if we're getting any comments on the YouTube.
I don't.
Unfortunately, may have to forego.
No comments this time.
I'm getting it from the moderator here, so no comments. If anybody in the audience or that's watching on YouTube would like to get something in on the later citizens from comment period, we will certainly get it in. So please avail yourself of that if you wish. We'll move on and consider the minutes of the special session meeting held on November the 12th, 2020, and the regular session and executive sessions held on November 16th, 2020.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Thank you, Mrs. Abe.
Second.
Give it to Ginger.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Corrado. I have a motion, a second, to approve the minutes as presented. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll conduct a roll call vote. Mrs. Ave?
Yay.
Mrs. Ave is a yay. Mrs. Corrado?
Yay.
Yay. Mr. Cool is absent. Dr. Hawkins?
Yay.
Dr. Hawkins is a yay. Mrs. Hill is absent. Mr. West?
Yay.
Mr. West is a yay. The chair is a yay. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on to finance and vouchers for the month of December. Mr. Chapman.
Members of the board, you have the finance claims before you this evening. If you have any questions, Mrs. Gwynn is also on with us if she or myself could answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions?
I move the approval of finance voucher 102305 to 102489.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Dr. Hawkins, seconded by Mrs. Ave, to approve vouchers 102305 through 102489. Is there any further discussion among the board members? Hearing none, roll call vote. Mrs. Ave?
Yay.
Mrs. Ave is yay. Mrs. Corrado?
Yay.
Mrs. Corrado is a yay. Again, Mr. Cool is absent. Dr. Hawkins?
Yay.
Dr. Hawkins is a yay. Mrs. Hill is absent. Mr. West?
Yay.
Mr. West is a yay, and the chair is a yay. Vouchers pass 5-0. Moving on, personnel report for the month of December. Mr. Chapman?
Members of the board, the December personnel report is presented for your approval this evening. One item I would like to mention is with the mid-year retirement of Mary Kelsheimer at the high school taking effect at the close of this week, we are recommending Mr. Matthew Payne for this high school social studies position, and we ask your approval of the personnel report this evening.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion from Mr. West, seconded by Mrs. Ave, to approve December's personnel report as presented. Is there any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, roll call vote. Mrs. Ave?
Yay?
Mrs. Ave is a yay. Mrs. Corrado?
Yay.
Mrs. Corrado is a yay. Mr. Cool is absent. Dr. Hawkins?
Yay.
Dr. Hawkins is a yay. Mrs. Hill is absent. Mr. West?
Yay.
Mr. West is a yay. The chair is a yay. Motion passes 5-0. Personnel report is adopted. Moving on to the decision portion of tonight's agenda. As I talked about earlier, recommendation to approve and distribute the teacher appreciation grants to eligible teachers. Mr. Chapman?
Members of the board, on November 24th, the Teacher Appreciation Grant distribution for South Vermail Community School Corporation was received in the amount of $61,385.55. The distribution of these funds must take place within 20 business days as prescribed by law and by board policy to all eligible teachers, and they will receive a stipend based on the following criteria: that they were employed in the classroom setting in their schools, rated highly effective or effective for the 18-19 school year, and employed by South Vermail Community School Corporation as of December 1st, the current school year. The distribution of the teacher appreciation funds were received as follows. Eligible teachers will receive a one-time cash stipend as determined to all, and that one-time cash stipend is separated by 25% for those who are rated as effective compared to those rated highly effective. Based on those guidelines provided, all eligible teachers who receive an effective rating for the 2019-20 school year will receive a stipend of $444 plus contributions to their TURF and FICA accounts. All eligible teachers who received a highly effective rating for the 19-20 school year will also receive a one-time stipend of $592 plus contributions to the TURF and FICA. We ask your approval of the tag distribution funds tonight for all the eligible teachers, and by which all eligible teachers were we had no ineligible teachers last year, I would like to say. If approved, the distribution to the teachers will be made as a separate line item as part of their payroll on December 18th, 2020. We ask for approval at this time.
I will
So moved.
mildly make that recommendation, that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Mrs. Ave, seconded by Mrs. Corrado to adopt the recommendation to distribute the teacher appreciation grant to eligible teachers. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Mrs. Ave?
Yay?
Mrs. Ave is yay. Mrs. Corrado?
Yay.
Mrs. Corrado is yay. Mr. Cool is absent. Dr. Hawkins?
Yay.
Dr. Hawkins is yay. Mrs. Hill is absent. Mr. West?
Yay.
Mr. West is yay. Please show the chair is yay. Motion passes 5-0. It's time to distribute the grant, Mr. Chapman.
It'll be in their accounts bright and early tomorrow morning.
Great. Next is the recommendation to approve stipends for eligible employees. Mr. Chapman?
Members of the board, with the teacher appreciation grant stipends being distributed to all eligible teachers, I'd like to also recommend that the eligible administrators receive a performance stipend as well. This stipend would be dispersed as follows. Those administrators receiving an effective rating would receive $500, and those highly effective would receive $600 stipend. Also, I'd like to recommend a stipend of $500 be provided to the following administrative support and supervisory personnel: Kim Bryant, Food Service Director; Michelle Baguetto, Transportation Department Director; Hannah Hoover, South Vermail School Corporation Nurse and Health Services Director; Rich Bucher, HVAC Supervisor; Steve Marietta, Maintenance Supervisor; Stephanie Farrington, Personnel and Payroll Manager; and Cindy Gwynn, Business Manager. These individuals put in a substantial amount of time and effort during this pandemic above and beyond their required duties. Their commitment is duly noted and greatly appreciated, as we would not have been able to keep our schools and our facilities operating without their time and talents. I would like to request approval of the above mentioned stipends at this time.
So moved.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Corrado and seconded by Dr. Hawkins to approve the stipends as presented by Mr. Chapman. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. First of all, Mrs. Ave.
Yay.
Mrs. Ave is a yay. Mrs. Corrado.
Yay.
Mrs. Corrado is a yay. Mr. Cool is absent. Dr. Hawkins.
Yay.
Dr. Hawkins is a yay. Mrs. Hill is absent. Mr. West.
Yay.
Mr. West is a yay. Show the chair is a yay. The stipend motion passes 5-0. Next item is recommendation to approve the Middle School Building Corporation Board of Directors. I assume you're going to present this, Mr. Chapman?
Yes. Members of the board, with the vacancies on the South Vermail Middle School Building Corporation Board of Directors, it was necessary to seek replacements to serve in that capacity. School board members were asked to seek volunteers who would be willing to serve in this capacity, and we received the following individuals expressing interest from the board, and followed up with phone calls and talked to each of them individually, and they affirmed that they are willing to serve. And those individuals are Stephanie Stewart, Jeff Gepner, and Tiffany Smith. And we would ask approval of this recommendation for them to serve in that capacity moving forward.
So
So
moved.
moved.
How about you take the second, Mr. West?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I have a motion by Dr. Hawkins, seconded by Mr. West, to approve the recommendation as presented by Mr. Chapman for the Middle School Building Corporation Board of Directors. Any further discussion? And we might be worth pointing out the members who stepped down or unfortunately have passed on. So for the public, Mr. Chapman.
Dr. Somerville has relocated into retirement. Tori Cloyd had asked if somebody showed an interest, she would like to allow that to occur. And I knew I'd missed the third one.
Oh, it was Larry Carlson.
Yes, that's right. Larry Carlson had passed away. My fault. My apologies.
Yep.
So then therefore, let me understand this, all three are new?
Correct. When we have our first meeting with Jeff Qualkenbush, he will go over, we've already presented them with the documents that I received from Jeff Qualkenbush. But when we have our first meeting here in January to go over some of the documents, he will explain in more detail responsibilities for them.
Okay, unless there's any other questions or comment from board members, we'll take a roll call vote. Mrs. Ave.
Yay.
Mrs. Ave is yay. Mrs. Corrado.
Yay.
Mrs. Corrado is a yay. Mr. Cool is absent. Dr. Hawkins.
Yay.
Dr. Hawkins is a yay. Mrs. Hill is absent. Mr. West.
Yay.
Mr. West is yay, and the chair is a yay. Motion passes 5-0. Next item, recommendation to approve authorization to revise the 2020-21 academic calendar if necessary. Mr. Chapman?
Members of the board, this is a bit of a tricky one, but at the same time necessary, knowing what we know about the pandemic and the issues we're having with it. With the current state of the pandemic and the effects of the recent Thanksgiving break on school staff and students testing positive and or being identified as close contacts, I would like to recommend that if the numbers warrant over the Christmas break, due to another surge, that the school corporation pause the return to school for 1 week. Right now, we're scheduled to return on January 4th, but if numbers warrant and we have an issue with potential staffing, I would like to extend that our Christmas break by 1 week, and thereby coming into school on the January 11th as opposed to January 4th. We've identified 3 days in our school calendar in the second semester as snow makeup days that in reality we could use as school days with e-learning. Those days are February 12th, March 18th, and March 19th. That combined with the end of the school year being extended 2 days would still allow us to finish the school year on Friday, May 28th, if necessary. The final teacher day would be on Tuesday, June 1st. After a lot of consultation and dialogue with Hannah Hoover, our head nurse, as well as the Vermilion County Health Department, this potential extension of the break could very well help with the mitigation efforts after the holidays and could potentially limit the exposure after we return from that break. The extra time would also help those testing positive and those being identified as close contacts over the break to utilize their quarantine days without the loss of school days. The big issue here for us is this. We can make that determination right now to extend the break, not knowing exactly what that surge, whether we have that surge or not, or we can look at December 30th as the date to make that final determination by my office in consultation with the health department and our head nurse, that we either go on the 4th or the 11th. What I don't want to have is an issue where we say one thing and the opposite happens. We have that flexibility up until December 30th to make that final call.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman. Board member comment, questions?
So the recommendation then is to leave it to the superintendent's discretion?
In consultation with the health department and our head nurse, based on the accuracy and of the numbers of students and staff that may be impacted upon our return on January 4th. And we would make that determination no later than Wednesday, December 30th.
Does that
I
take
make a
motion
motion to
or just
accept
consensus?
this.
I'm sorry.
I said, does that take a motion or just board consensus?
We are as opposed to what Mr. Chapman is proposing would change the school calendar, as opposed to having his discretion to go to pivot from e-learning to in-classroom learning. So this is changing the school calendar, so it requires board action.
Correct.
I make a recommendation that we accept this motion. Or
I'd
make a
second.
motion that we accept this recommendation.
A motion on the table. Did you second that, Dr. Hawkins?
Yes.
So I have a motion and a second I guess the right way to frame this would be to authorize the superintendent or to grant the superintendent his discretion, working with the parties that he outlined before, the health department, among others, to revise the academic calendar start for second semester from the 4th to the 11th as deemed necessary due to COVID-19.
Correct.
I think I framed that up right. Any further questions? All right, roll call vote. Mrs. Ave.
Yay.
Mrs. Ave is yay. Mrs. Corrado.
Yay.
Mrs. Corrado is yay. Mr. Cool is absent. Dr. Hawkins.
Yay.
Dr. Hawkins is yay. Mrs. Hill is absent. Mr. West.
Yay.
Mr. West is yay. Show the chair is yay. Motion passes 5-0. Maybe just before we move on, Mr. Chapman, maybe just an update for everybody stepping back of where the trends have gone this week.
We're holding steady from, if you recall from the dashboard last Friday, we had 290 students who were either testing positive or quarantined. And that's about 18% of our student body. So if we were in school Friday, those 290 kids out, that doesn't count all the students who may have been absent from school that day for other various reasons. So It held pretty steady. As a matter of fact, it dropped a little bit. We were at 268 on Tuesday. And we're hoping that that trend continues through the holidays. We just don't know. Based on what happened with Thanksgiving, that short break there's a good possibility that we will experience another surge after the first week of January.
Tell Madame she's welcome, Jerry.
I know. Yeah. She can't vote.
I wondered why you kept telling me. Sorry, I wasn't interested in what was going on. I just wanted to write Jerry a note. I'm sorry.
Well, we just need a little humor in tonight's meeting. That's for sure.
Yes, you do.
It's that time. Well, thank you, Mr. Chapman, on that. Next item, recommendation to declare surplus. You want? I guess this is what MacBook Airs.
Yes.
Cinema displays and 15 iPad Airs.
Yep. Members of the board, Mrs. Fossey is recommending that the board approve the request to declare these laptops and monitors and iPads as surplus. They are teacher laptops and have served their purpose and are being replaced. It's that rotation time. Teachers have been given the opportunity to purchase their old laptops at the recommended value price. And for those that are still in supply, we've not yet determined their fate, but we do ask your approval at this time.
So
I'll
moved.
make that motion.
Take the second, Jerry.
Sure.
I got a motion from Mr. West, second by Dr. Hawkins to approve the surplus items as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Mrs. Ave.
Yay.
Mrs. Ave is a yay. Mrs. Corrado?
Yay.
Ms. Corrado is a yay. Mr. Cool is absent. Dr. Hawkins?
Yay.
Dr. Hawkins is a yay. Mrs. Hill is absent. Mr. West?
Yay.
Mr. West is a yay. Show the chair is a yay. Surplus items pass 5-0. Next item, recommendation to approve donating up to 15 outdated teacher iPad Air 2s to local long-term healthcare facility. Mr. Chapman.
Members of the board, this is part two from the previous request. We have a number of the original iPads. I don't want to use the term outdated because they're still very useful, but through our replacement process, they are the older version. And we'd like to have them declared surplus and to be able to donate up to 15 of them to our local long-term healthcare facilities. This will provide opportunities for the residents to be able to communicate with their family and friends using Zoom, FaceTime, and other apps. We thought this would be a wonderful opportunity for the school corporation to give back to our community. We've heard stories after stories after stories of folks in these healthcare facilities isolated from their families and no way to communicate with them. And it's our hope to get the iPads to the facilities on Monday so that they have the week to get acclimated to those iPads and be able to check in with their families over the holidays. We think it'd be just a tremendous opportunity for those facilities to be able to do that with their residents. We ask your approval for that this evening.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Ave, seconded by Mrs. Corrado to approve the recommendation on donating of the 15 iPad Air 2s to a local long-term health care facility. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call vote. Mrs. Ave?
Yay.
Mrs. Ave is a yay. Mrs. Corrado?
Yay.
Mrs. Corrado is a yay. Mr. Cool is absent. Dr. Hawkins?
Yay.
Dr. Hawkins is a yay. Mrs. Hill is absent. Mr. West?
Yay.
Mr. West is a yay, and the chair votes yay. 5-0, motion passes. Next item, recommendation to approve Section 125 Flexible Benefits Plan Agreement for 2021. Mr. Chapman?
Members of the board, this is an annual request that is made in December to provide tax sheltered benefits to all eligible staff. We ask your approval this evening for 2021, I should say.
I move that approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Dr. Hawkins, seconded by Mr. West to approve the section 125 flexible benefits plan agreement again for 2021. Any further comment? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Mrs. Ave.
Yay.
Mrs. Ave is yay. Mrs. Crowder.
Yay.
Mrs. Crowder is a yay. Mr. Cool's absent. Dr. Hawkins.
Yay.
Dr. Hawkins is a yay. Mrs. Silla is absent. Mr. West.
Yay.
Mr. West is a yay. Vote the chair is a yay. Motion passes 5-0. Next item, where are we at, Mr. Chair? Oh, recommendation to approve the high school dance competitions. Mr. Chapman?
Members of the board, your approval is requested for the South Main High School dance team to travel to the following competitions at Avon High School, January 16th, Crawfordsville, February 13th, Crawfordsville back again on March 6th, and Lafayette Jefferson on March 13th. Please note that these competitions, like athletic events, will hinge on the current state of the pandemic and any future guidance from the ISDH and the governor's office. We ask your approval this evening.
So move.
I'll
Second.
I'll give a second to Ginger. Is that right? Motion by Mr. West, seconded by Mrs. Crotto, to approve the recommendation on the high school dance team competitions for early 2021. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Mrs. Ave.
Yay.
Mrs. Ave is yay. Ms. Crotto.
Yay.
Ms. Crotto is a yay. Mr. Cool is absent. Dr. Hawkins.
Yay.
Dr. Hawkins is yay. Mrs. Hill is absent. Mr. West.
Yay.
Mr. West is a yay. Vote the chair is a yay. Motion passes 5-0. Okay. Is that it, Mr. Chapman?
That is it.
Okay. I don't see any other comments popping up. I did figure out how to bring that up. So if anybody happens to be out there that would like to send us a comment or a question, there are none. Okay.
None.
Okay.
You don't want me to bring my citizen back in to make a comment, do you?
What's that? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Where's she at?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, don't even ask.
She's always welcome. She comes straighten us out. Okay, we'll close citizens comments period, and we'll conclude with first Mr. Chapman's comment and then board member comment. Mr. Chapman.
A couple of quick items for the board to consider. We do have to establish a meeting date for the reorganization meeting. We have to do that by law within the first 15 days of January. If the board is okay, we can. I'd like to put out there Monday, January 4th. We have our reorganization meeting and go from there. Unless that's not a good date and you have another options, you can get that to me here soon, so that we can get that on the calendar.
I throw out. I got a compromise. The 7th.
The 7th.
Yeah,
works for me.
Any of the rest of you have any conflicts?
I'm good with either day.
I'm good also, either day.
Maybe Dave, if you could check with Mrs. Hill.
Yep. I'll do that tomorrow. Yeah, I think the 7th is fine on my end. So I don't, as long as that works with the board members, we should be okay. The only other thing I'd like to put out there real quickly, I think it goes without saying it's been a very stressful year for all of us. And I hope everybody gets an opportunity to take time to relax during the break and enjoy as best you can the holidays. Just simply, I ask this: be smart, be safe. We want everyone to be back healthy in 2021. The last thing and I'm sending this plea out to everybody, our staff, our students, our families. If for at any time during the holiday break, this is very important. At any time during the break, if you test positive or you are contacted and identified as a close contact, please, 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 please contact your school by email or however best you can as soon as possible. We don't want to wait until the very last day of the break and then know the day before we come back, we have all these people that are positive or quarantined. So as soon as you find out, as soon as you're tested positive, as soon as you're identified as being a close contact and have to be quarantined, please contact the school so that we can document it through our health services and work with the health department to make sure we have an accurate accountability so that we can make that determination as far as getting back to school. The one thing that we want to do, and I don't want to minimize this at all. We've had a rough first semester. Our goal is to come back to school second semester and stay back in school second semester as much as possible. We have missed about a semester of school due to this pandemic, and we want to make sure we get it back. And we are working on plans to work on that loss of learning and how we're going to combat that over the next couple of years. But first and foremost, we've got to get our students and our staff back in school because nothing replaces that in-person learning. So please work with us, make sure if something is going a little haywire, you need to be quarantined, you get tested positive, please let us know. Outside of that, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I am so looking forward to 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman. We'll start with Mrs. Corrado. There you go.
Yes, I'm echoing the same to everybody. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and everybody stay healthy.
Well said. Thank you. Mrs. Ave.
I think the only thing I want to add to the, wishing everybody a Merry Christmas is that it as a grandparent who's actively involved in the e-learning process, it has been hard, it has been long, but it has been doable. And I think that we have to recognize the work that has gone on with these administrators and these teachers. We are always interacting with our principal where my student goes to school. We're always have very responsive teachers. As soon as my grandson has a question, within minutes we have an answer, which I appreciate. So it's been hard, but it's been doable. We've done a good job with it.
Thank you, Mrs. Ave. Mr. West.
I just want to wish everyone a very safe and peaceful holiday, and we'll see you in 2021.
Thank you. Dr. Hawkins.
Well, ditto everyone else's comments, and also give Mary Kelsheimer a shout out and best wishes on retirement after several years here at South V. So I wish you all the best, and I'll see you next year.
Thank you, Dr. Hawkins. One question I want to ask is, Mr. Chapman, there was some discussion on the governor's press conference yesterday about where school personnel will follow in the vaccine distribution. Are we hearing anything from the health department, or is that more going to come from at the state level? But hearing that school personnel may be in some of the tranches that come after the healthcare workers. So just curious. You're on mute, by the way, Mr. Chaves.
Yeah, I was trying to be nice about everything. Depending on who you listen to, we're either in part of group 1B or group 2. We're in the same group as the firefighters and all those response. We did receive a survey from Homeland Security asking questions about our employees, how many and all this, and we've got that taken care of. So basically what we're waiting on now is information on when that will take place and how it will be distributed. Part of that survey was asking if we had personnel that could do the vaccinations, of which we do. Our school nurses can do that. So we will, once we have an idea of what the situation is going to be for us, we will start putting that schedule together. We've heard everywhere from late January to early February, all the way into spring break and possibly later after that. So a lot depends on the availability of the vaccine, and we'll just have to wait and see. One misnomer that's out there that I want to make sure everybody knows, this is not mandatory. The vaccination is not mandatory. It is provided as a service. If an employee chooses not to be vaccinated, that is their call.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Well, ditto what everybody else said. I think everybody is so ready for the end of this year. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean the end of the pandemic. But I know 2020 is pandemic, and I know what it's meant for me personally. It's been a tough year personally. It's been tough for a lot of people, and this seems to be one of those that we're all looking forward to getting in the rearview mirror. So I think we'll all be happy come December 31st, more ways than one. As we go to adjourn, I just want to reiterate to the folks that joined us tonight on the YouTube, this is not the venue that we like to get together on. We've certainly heard from the public, and I think the public's been very clear. They don't like virtual meetings versus in person. We don't either, but we did not want to. We believed we were not going to have a quorum tonight. We weren't going to have a quorum tonight, and wanted to make sure we got that teacher appreciation grant out tomorrow, as it's well received for those folks, or it's well deserved for those folks. So we did not want to be we didn't want to be miss on our duties, so to speak. So anybody else have anything before we adjourn? Otherwise, I entertain a motion.
So move.
Have a second? Second. We stand adjourned. Thank you all for joining us, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Thank you.
See you all in January.